are very few stories in modern history that feel bigger than entertainment. Stories that didn't just dominate the box office, they defined childhoods, friendships, school years, and even identity. And at the top of that list sits one universe, the world of Harry Potter. So when Warner Brothers announced a full television adaptation for HBO, it didn't feel like just another reboot. It felt like reopening a time capsule. For millions of fans, this wasn't nostalgia, it was unfinished business. Because despite the success of the films, readers always knew something. We never saw the whole story. Entire plot lines vanished. Characters were simplified. Moments that carried emotional weight on the page were reduced to seconds on screen. A television format promised something revolutionary. Time. Time to breathe. Time to build relationships. Time to explore the world beyond the main trio. For the first time, the Wizarding world wouldn't be compressed. It would unfold. And that's why expectations didn't just rise. They skyrocketed. Most reboots face skepticism, but this one faces something else entirely. Protectiveness. Because the original books by J.K. Rowling weren't just stories, they were experiences that grew darker and more complex as readers themselves grew older. The first book felt like wonder. By the final installment, the tone had shifted to loss, sacrifice, and moral ambiguity. Very few franchises age with their audience like that. So the challenge for the show isn't simply retelling events, it's recreating that emotional progression. If season 1 feels too mature, it breaks the innocence. If later seasons don't evolve, the darkness won't land. It's a delicate balance, almost like raising a child all over again. One of the most underrated aspects of the original story was how little we actually knew. We weren't all seeing viewers. We were confused students wandering through a castle filled with secrets. Information was withheld intentionally. That's what made reveals hit so hard. Characters weren't fully explained up front, they were puzzles. Take someone like Severus Snape. For years, audiences debated whether he was hero, villain, or something in between. That uncertainty wasn't accidental, it was structural. If a TV adaptation starts answering those questions too early, the tension disappears. Mystery turns into exposition, and exposition is the enemy of suspense. Modern storytelling often tries to add depth immediately. Villains get tragic backstories. Bullies get sympathetic explanations. Antagonists become misunderstood protagonists. Sometimes that works, but sometimes it weakens the arc. A character like Draco Malfoy was powerful precisely because he wasn't understood at first. He represented privilege, arrogance, and inherited prejudice. Only later did cracks begin to show. Fear, pressure, expectations from his father, Lucius Malfoy. That delayed empathy made the payoff devastating. If the show starts with sympathy instead of building toward it, the emotional journey collapses into a straight line. A TV format invites exploration, more classrooms, more teachers, more side stories, more time inside the castle itself. On paper, that sounds amazing. But expansion comes with risk, because the original story wasn't just about the Wizarding world, it was about discovering that world through one boy's eyes. If the narrative constantly cuts away to show what everyone else is doing, we stop being explorers. We become observers, and that subtle shift changes everything. Recasting iconic roles is one of the hardest tasks in entertainment. Every new actor will be compared not just in performance, but in presence. For example, Snape wasn't just intimidating because of dialogue. He was intimidating because of silence, because of stillness, because you never knew what he was thinking. Capturing that energy matters more than replicating lines. Similarly, characters like Draco weren't memorable simply because of what they said, but because of what they represented. A social hierarchy inside the school, a reflection of the outside world's prejudices. If the tone shifts too much, the symbolism fades. No matter what decisions were made, backlash was guaranteed. Not because fans want to hate the show, but because expectations are impossible to satisfy. Some want strict accuracy, some want modernization, some want expansion, some want preservation. It's like trying to rebuild a childhood home while everyone argues over what should stay the same. Every change feels personal. Despite all the debates, the casting controversies, and the fan skepticism, there's one thing that almost nobody can deny. The first season of this series is going to be massive, not just big monumental. Curiosity alone will pull viewers in. Fans who've read every page of Harry Potter cover to cover will tune in, eager to see their favorite moments finally stretched out, explored, and brought to life with all the time they deserve. Those who only watch the films will watch too, hoping to catch details they missed or simply to relive a story they grew up loving. Even people who claim they don't care, the ones who scoffed at the announcements or rolled their eyes at the casting decisions, will probably find themselves clicking play on premiere night. It's irresistible. This isn't just a show, it's not just content to scroll past, it's a cultural event, a phenomenon. And yet, the real test isn't the first episode's numbers or how many trends it sparks on social media. The real question is far more important. Will it earn long-term loyalty? Will viewers continue to invest in this world week after week, season after season, emotionally and intellectually? Will they forgive the controversial choices, or will some feel that the magic of the original story has been compromised? This is what separates a fleeting hit from a legendary adaptation. Adapting a story like Harry Potter isn't about spectacle. It's not about the CGI, the costumes, or even the star-studded cast. It's about memory, about emotion, about the quiet moments that make a story unforgettable. It's about recreating that feeling you get when you're curled up with a book late at night, telling yourself, just one more chapter, and then suddenly realizing it's 3 a.m. and the world has disappeared around you. It's about curiosity, the warmth of friendship, the suspense of hidden secrets, and the creeping darkness that makes every discovery feel urgent and personal. If the show can capture that not just visually, but emotionally, it could become the definitive version of this story for a new generation. A version that honors the heart of the books while taking advantage of the medium of television. If it fails to capture that magic, then it risks being a reminder that some stories are impossible to fully recreate. That lightning in a bottle, that rare combination of imagination, timing, and emotional resonance cannot be replicated, only remembered. And maybe, just maybe, that's what makes this adaptation both terrifying and exciting in equal measure.